The streets of New York were a chaotic mix of shimmering lights and puddles reflecting the neon signs above. Rain poured relentlessly, drenching the city in a cold, silver haze. Adrian Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood Technologies, hurried across the sidewalk. His umbrella snapped in the wind, his suit damp from the sudden storm. His mind was occupied with numbers, meetings, and deadlines. As usual, but fate had other plans for him tonight. He barely noticed the slick pavement beneath his polished shoes as he navigated the crowded streets. Eyes focused on the glowing screen of his phone. His attention wavered for just a fraction of a second, and, in that instant, a speeding car came into his path. Before he could react, a hand shot out and yanked him backward. Adrian stumbled, nearly losing his balance, and looked up into the face of a young woman, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to her cheeks, and eyes wide with urgency. "You're going to get killed if you don't pay attention," she shouted over the roar of the tires. Adrian blinked, heart hammering in his chest. I think I'm fine," he stammered, awestruck by the woman who had just saved him. "Thank you." She shook her head, brushing wet hair from her face. "Don't thank me yet. Let's make sure the street is clear first." They moved onto the sidewalk, wet clothes clinging to both of them, rain dripping from their hair and collars. Adrian studied her for the first time. She was petite, with dark brown hair plastered to her face, green eyes bright and alert, and a determination that radiated from her every movement. She was soaking wet, shivering slightly, yet she had risked herself to save a stranger. "I don't know how to repay you," Adrian said, voice tight, heart still racing. "You don't have to," she replied, brushing raindrops from her jacket. "I saw someone in danger. I did what I had to do. That's all." Adrian's mind spun. He was used to commanding boardrooms, making decisions that affected millions, controlling situations with precision. But this, being saved by a stranger, he had no playbook for this. Still, "You're hurt," he said, noticing a trickle of blood on her forearm. "Let me make sure you're okay." She waved him off. "It's nothing. Just a scratch." "I'm fine. Nothing. That's serious. You could have been, hey, I told you, I'm fine." She interrupted, though her teeth were slightly chattering from the cold and shock. Adrian studied her carefully. She wasn't being dramatic. She truly was fine, but she had risked herself. And for that, he felt an overwhelming mix of gratitude, awe, and something else he couldn't yet name. The storm outside showed no signs of letting up. Adrian hailed a cab, insisting she sit beside him. She protested initially, not wanting to be coddled by a billionaire, but his firm tone left her little choice. "Please," he said, voice calm but commanding, "just sit. I want to make sure you're safe." As the cab weaved through the rain-soaked streets, Adrian stayed close, glancing at her with a strange intensity that made her heart flutter. He didn't speak for a while, simply watching, ensuring she was okay. It was unexpectedly comforting. Finally, she asked, "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." "I know enough," he replied, his tone softening. "You risked yourself for me. That tells me everything I need to know about you." At her apartment, Adrian helped her inside, carefully guiding her up the steps. He had brought a small first aid kit and insisted on cleaning and dressing her wound properly. Leela protested gently, but his attention was unwavering. "You could have let me handle it myself," she said, still wary, "and I could have let the driver hit me." Adrian countered, tone calm but firm. No, you saved me. Now I'm taking care of you. It's only fair. Her cheeks flushed not from the rain, but from the intensity in his gaze. She had expected gratitude, maybe flattery, even awkward charm, but not this sincerity. As he wrapped the bandage around her arm, their hands brushed. Leela felt a shiver run through her. Adrian's touch was careful, considerate, and respectful. He wasn't trying to impress her with wealth or power. He was simply present, fully present. In the following hours, Adrian stayed nearby, making tea, helping her settle in, and checking on her arm. Leela found herself oddly comforted by his presence. She didn't understand why she felt so drawn to him, not for his money, not for his influence, but because of how he made her feel, safe, seen, and valued for herself. Finally, as the rain outside softened into a drizzle, Adrian looked at her and said quietly, "Leela, I don't know what this means yet, for either of us, but I want you to know one thing. I care about you, not for what you did, just for you." Her heart raced. She wanted to speak, to respond, but words failed her. All she could do was look at him, and in that moment, she realized that a bond had begun, a connection born of courage, chance, and honesty, and for the first time in a long while, she felt something she hadn't felt in years, truly safe. The morning sun filtered softly through the curtains of Leela's apartment, painting the room in a gentle gold. She sat on the couch, her arm still in a sling, while Adrian busied himself in the small kitchen, preparing tea and arranging a few groceries he had brought along. "I still can't believe you brought all this," Leela said, glancing at the small assortment of fruit, sandwiches, and herbal tea. Her cheeks flushed slightly, a mix of gratitude and embarrassment. Adrian turned, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I didn't want you worrying about food or running errands while you're healing. You saved my life, Leela. The least I can do is make sure you're comfortable." She hesitated, not sure whether to laugh or protest. "I didn't save you so I could be treated like a guest at some five-star hotel," she said lightly. Though her tone betrayed her appreciation, Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Then consider this. A very casual gesture of thanks from a man who owes his life to you." They shared a brief smile, the kind that held warmth and unspoken understanding. Leela's heart fluttered in a way that had nothing to do with the accident. It was the way he looked at her, attentively, sincerely, as if she mattered more than anything else in the world. The next few days fell into a quiet rhythm. Adrian visited her daily, helping with small tasks she couldn't manage with one arm, opening jars, reaching high shelves, even reading labels on bottles. He never lingered unnecessarily, but he always made sure she was comfortable. One morning, as Adrian reached for a cookbook on the top shelf, he stumbled slightly. Without thinking, Leela grabbed his arm to steady him. "You've got strong reflexes," he said with a teasing grin, steadying himself. "And you've got a tendency to lean on strangers," she shot back, smirking. But her pulse quickened unexpectedly. He looked at her for a long moment, his expression softening. "I'm not used to feeling like this," he admitted quietly, his voice low but earnest. "I've spent my life controlling everything, business, decisions, people, but not this. Not you." Leela's breath caught. She had never expected a billionaire CEO to reveal vulnerability like this. And yet here he was, open, honest, human. That afternoon, they cooked together for the first time. Leela had insisted on helping, despite her injury, and Adrian had agreed, careful not to overstep. She chopped vegetables while he prepared the sauce, and when a drop splattered on her sweater, he simply laughed and dabbed it away gently. "You're lucky I don't burn water," he joked. "Lightly, I think I'm learning," she replied with a small laugh, her hands shaking slightly from both nerves and excitement. "Mostly from watching you try to be perfect." Adrian chuckled, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face. "Perfection isn't required," he said softly. "Care, attention, thoughtfulness, those are what matter. And you've got all of them." For a brief moment, their eyes met. There was no wealth, no power, no status between them, just two people, quiet, connected, understanding each other in a way that felt natural and real. Leela felt a warmth she had never expected, and Adrian felt something unfamiliar as well, a sense of peace, a sense of belonging, a pull toward her that had nothing to do with obligation or charm. Evenings became the most treasured part of the day. They would sit on the couch together, sipping tea, talking about life, books, dreams, or even nothing at all. Leela found herself laughing more than she had in weeks, comforted by Adrian's quiet presence. One rainy evening, as they listened to the steady rhythm of the falling rain, Leila whispered, "You know, I didn't save you so you could care for me. I did it because it was the right thing to do." Adrian's hand lingered on hers. "I know," he said softly, "and I don't care that you didn't. I care about you, just you, for who you are." Her chest tightened. For the first time, she realized she felt safe, not just physically, but emotionally. No money, no status, no pressure from the outside world could touch what was growing between them. And in that safe, quiet space, something fragile began to bloom. Trust, curiosity, and the beginnings of love not bought, not forced, but earned through courage, honesty, and care. The sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting golden stripes across Leila's apartment. She sat at the small dining table, her arm still in a sling, nursing a cup of tea. The past few days had been strange, quiet, and yet exhilarating. Adrian had been coming by daily, helping her with small tasks, bringing meals, and most importantly, simply being there. It was this constancy that made her heart flutter. She had never known someone to care so genuinely, not for appearances, not for show, just for her. Adrian entered the apartment quietly, carrying a bag of groceries. Even drenched from the early morning drizzle, he looked effortlessly composed. "Good morning," he said, smiling softly. "I brought breakfast and, well, some supplies for the week." Leila smiled, feeling her cheeks warm. "You really don't have to do all this," she said, though she appreciated it more than she let on. "I know," Adrian said, setting the bag down, "but I want to. Consider it my way of making sure my hero is taken care of." Leela laughed softly, shaking her head. "I don't need a hero, just someone who can make a mean omelette." "Challenge accepted," he said with a grin, rolling up his sleeves as they cooked together. A casual moment turned intimate. Leila reached for a spice jar on the top shelf, and Adrian, standing close behind her, instinctively steadied her. Their hands brushed, lingering longer than necessary. Leela felt a warmth spread through her chest. She quickly pulled her hand back, pretending nothing happened. But her heartbeat betrayed her calm demeanor. "You have a very strong grip," she teased lightly, trying to cover her nerves. "I could say the same about you," Adrian replied, eyes locking with hers. There was a moment of silence, the air between them charged. "I didn't realize how much I enjoy being close to you," he admitted, voice low. Leela felt her breath catch. She had never expected a billionaire CEO to speak with such vulnerability. "Enjoy being around you too," she said softly, her heart hammering. The first tension arose unexpectedly that evening. Adrian received a phone call from one of his business associates, pressing him to attend an emergency meeting regarding a deal. He sighed, torn between work and being with Lila. "I have to go," he said reluctantly. "It won't take long." Lila forced a small smile. "I understand. Go. I'll be fine." But as he left, the anxiety she had been suppressing bubbled up. Does he really want to be here? Or is it just duty? She hated the thought, but it lingered. Hours later, Adrian returned, looking exhausted but determined. He found Lila on the couch, reading, her expression calm but distant. "I'm sorry," he said, kneeling in front of her. "I hate leaving you like this." But it was urgent. Leela closed her book, meeting his eyes. "I know you had to go. I'm not upset." "Really," she said softly. But Adrian sensed the tension in her voice. He reached out, gently tucking a strand of wet hair behind her ear. "I want you to know, I choose being with you. Not because I have to, not because of anything else, but because I want to. Always." Her eyes welled up. She realized then that it wasn't the wealth or the protection that drew her to him, it was him. Just him. The first spark of romantic tension erupted later that night. They sat together on the balcony, city lights twinkling below. The air was cool, but Adrian draped his coat over her shoulders. Their shoulders brushed. Her heart raced. "Adrian," she began, unsure how to voice what she felt. He turned to her, eyes soft but intense. "Yes, I'm afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of what this is. Afraid of how different we are." Adrian cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks. "Leela, we can't control the world, but I can promise this sigh will protect you, not from the world, but from everything that could hurt us. I don't care what anyone says. You're not alone," she shivered, not from cold, but from the closeness, the honesty, the emotion radiating from him. Without thinking, she leaned forward. Their lips met in a tentative kiss, soft, unsure, and yet electric. It was a kiss that carried every unspoken word: gratitude, admiration, curiosity, and the first stirrings of love. When they finally parted, both were breathless, and Adrian rested his forehead against hers. "I've wanted that," he admitted. Voice low, "Me too," she whispered. The chapter closes with a subtle hi. A text from a friend of Lila's arrives. "Saw you with that billionaire. Are you serious? Don't let him use you." Lila's chest tightened. The outside world was beginning to intrude, but Adrian took her hand, squeezing it. "Let them talk," he said softly. "Tonight, it's just us. You and me. That's all that matters." And for the first time, Leela believed it. The city's evening lights sparkled through the rain-streaked windows, but inside Lila's apartment, the atmosphere was tense. The air felt heavy, suffused with worry. Her phone buzzed incessantly. Tweets, notifications, and news alerts flooded in. Billionaire caught with unknown woman love or opportunism. Leela Monroe, is she using Adrian Blackwood for fame and fortune? Leela's chest tightened. She loved Adrian, not his wealth, not his power. Just him, but the world seemed determined to make her doubt everything. She hadn't even noticed. Adrian standing silently by the window until he spoke. His voice calm but tinged with urgency. They're attacking you. The media is relentless. The headlines are cruel. I know, she murmured, trying to keep her voice steady. But I can't ignore them. People assume everything, even the worst. I didn't save you for this. I didn't. Adrian crossed the room in long strides, stopping before her. He gently lifted her chin with his hand, forcing her to meet his gaze. Stop, he said firmly. Stop doubting yourself. Stop letting the world decide who you are. I know your heart, Lila. I know your courage, your honesty, and I care for you, only you. Nothing else matters. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. I want to believe that, she whispered, but it's hard. So many people, so many assumptions. Adrian cupped her face with both hands, his thumbs brushing over her cheeks. Then let me be the only voice that matters. Let me protect you from the world, from gossip, from fear. I don't care what anyone says. You're mine, Leela, and I'll fight for that. The first intrusion of high society arrived soon after. There was a knock at the door. Adrian's mother, Evelyn Blackwood, accompanied by his father. Leela's stomach twisted. She had never met them. She had expected judgment, but she hadn't expected this level of intensity. Evelyn's sharp eyes swept over her. So, you are the woman who saved my son, she said, voice crisp, assessing every detail. Yes, ma'am, Leela replied, standing straight despite the nerves. I acted because it was the right thing to do. I care for him. Sincerely. Not for money, not for power, just for him. Adrian stepped forward, standing protectively beside her. Mother, this is Lila Monroe. She's courageous, honest, and brave. I care for her deeply, not for her actions, not for gratitude, not for anything else. She is herself, and that is enough. Evelyn's gaze lingered, skeptical but intrigued. She arched an eyebrow. And you expect me to accept this? Stranger. I don't expect anything, Lila said firmly. I only ask that you see me as I am, not as your assumptions paint me. I love your son, not his fortune, not his status, just him. After tense moments of silence, Evelyn's expression softened slightly. Honesty is rare, she admitted, and courage even rarer. We shall see if your love is as true as your words. Adrian released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He turned to Lila, squeezing her hand. You were remarkable, he whispered. Even standing here, facing them all, you were amazing. Lila felt warmth flood her chest. She looked up at him, heart racing, and whispered, and you. You're everything I could never have expected. That night. The storm outside had cleared, leaving the streets glistening under the city lights. Adrian led Leela to the balcony, wrapping his coat around her shoulders. Their bodies pressed close together as he held her gently, eyes searching hers for any sign of doubt. Tonight, it's just us, he murmured. Forget the headlines, the gossip, the expectations. We'll face the world together, but for now, just feel this moment. Just us. Her heart beat fast as she leaned into him, feeling the warmth of his body, the strength and tenderness in his embrace. She realized that no media, no rumor, no social expectation could touch what they had together. Adrian tilted her chin up, brushing a strand of damp hair from her face. Lila, I don't care about anyone else. I care about you. Only you. And I will protect this love. Always. She looked into his eyes, so earnest, so unwavering, and felt the last traces of fear dissolve. I love you, she whispered, voice trembling. "And I love you," he replied, capturing her lips in a slow, tender kiss. This time there was no hesitation, only trust, desire, and the purest form of connection. The city seemed colder than usual. Even the glow of the skyline looked harsh, reflecting the storm of rumors and speculation that had been following Leila and Adrian for days. Her phone buzzed incessantly, each alert feeling heavier than the last. Billionaire caught with mysterious woman opportunist or love. Leila Monroe, who is she really? Adrian Blackwood's private life, exposed manipulation, or true romance? Leila sank into the couch, her hand covering her eyes. She had never sought attention, never asked for scrutiny. She had saved Adrian that night simply because it was right. And now it felt like the world wanted to punish her for it. Her chest tightened as she heard the soft click of the door opening. Adrian entered, drenched from the drizzle outside, but his presence was magnetic, unwavering. His eyes searched hers, sensing her inner turmoil before she could speak. "Lila," he said quietly, closing the door behind him. "I've seen the headlines. I know what the world is saying. I can't ignore it," she whispered, voice trembling. "Even your family, friends, they're all judging me. They think I'm here for your money, for your fame. I don't even know if I can fight against all of this." Adrian closed the distance between them in a few long strides. He took her hands in his, holding them tightly. "Then don't fight it alone," he said, his voice low, intense. "You don't have to. I will face it all for us. For you, nothing, no gossip, no assumptions, no world can change what I feel." Her breath caught I don't want to hold you back," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You never will," he said, leaning closer. "Because I choose you. Every day. I don't care about money or appearances. I care about you." Suddenly, the phone rang. Leila glanced at the screen. A reporter. Adrian took it without hesitation. "This is Adrian Blackwood," he said, voice calm but commanding. "There is nothing to report. This is my private life. Leila is not here for publicity, money, or attention. She is here because she is brave, honest, and remarkable." End of story. He hung up, turning to Leila with a soft smile. "See, nothing matters except us." But the world outside wasn't finished. Later that evening, there was another knock at the door this time. It was Adrian's father and a family friend, known for their wealth and influence. Their expressions were guarded, skeptical. "You've chosen to associate yourself with her?" His father asked sharply. "Do you understand how this could look?" Leila's hands trembled slightly, but she straightened her back. "Yes, sir. I understand. And I don't care about appearances. I care about Adrian. I love him for who he is, not his wealth, not his status, only him." Adrian stepped forward, placing himself protectively in front of her. "She's exactly who she says she is. Honest, brave, and courageous. I love her, and that's all that matters." The tension in the room was palpable. Leila felt her heart pounding in her chest, fear and pride mixing together. The outside world was pressing in, trying to tear them apart. And yet Adrian remained unwavering, a pillar of support and love. "You're remarkable," Adrian whispered once the others left. "Even standing there, facing them. You stayed true to yourself. You stayed true to us." Leila leaned into him, tears sliding down her cheeks. "And you're everything I never expected. You fight for me, you trust me, And you love me without conditions. Adrian pulled her close, kissing the top of her head gently. Always, you are my heart. Nothing else matters. But the storm wasn't over yet. The next morning, Leela opened her email to find messages from the press stories spinning out of context. Rumors about Adrian's professional life being affected by their relationship, and even suggestions that she was a distraction from his responsibilities. She felt the weight of the world pressing down on her again. Adrian appeared behind her, placing a hand over hers. "Don't read it," he said firmly. "None of it matters. You matter. Us matters. That's all that matters." Leela looked into his eyes and saw complete sincerity. No billionaire charm, no grandeur, just a man willing to stand by her, even when the world turned against them. That evening, Adrian led Leila to the balcony, wrapping his coat around her shoulders. The city stretched endlessly below, rain-soaked streets glittering in the lamplight. "We've faced the storm," Adrian said softly. "The rumors, the scrutiny, the judgments, and we survived. But the world will keep testing us. I need you to know something. Whatever comes next, I will fight for this. For you, for us." Leila leaned into him, pressing her cheek against his chest. "I don't care what the world says," she whispered. "I only care about you. We'll face it together." And as Adrian bent to kiss her, slow and tender, the weight of the world seemed to fall away. Their lips met in a kiss that was more than passionate, was trust, devotion, and love in its purest form. The city lights glittered through the rain-streaked windows. But inside Adrian's penthouse, the atmosphere was tense and suffocating. Leela stood by the balcony, her heart racing, watching the wet streets below. She clutched her phone tightly, which was blowing up with messages, social media alerts, and notifications that she couldn't bring herself to open. Billionaire CEO and mysterious woman caught on camera. PR stunt or real love? Leila Monroe, opportunist or genuine? Why is Adrian Blackwood risking everything for her? Each alert felt like a stab to her chest. She had saved Adrian that night in the rain, but now she felt like her heart was caught in a storm she could no longer control. Adrian entered silently, closing the balcony door behind him. His usual composed demeanor was replaced with tension. His dark eyes searched hers. "They're everywhere," Leela whispered, voice trembling. "The media. Your friends." "Everyone thinks I don't care," Adrian interrupted, voice low, filled with urgency. "None of it matters. None of them, only you. Only us." Leila turned away, biting her lip. "But it does matter. It's hard to believe in us when everyone thinks I'm just using you. How can we be happy when they all doubt us?" Adrian's jaw tightened. He walked to her and placed both hands on her shoulders, turning her gently to face him. "Leela, listen to me. I know what you feel, and I know what I feel. You saved my life not for money, not for fame, just because you were brave and kind. That is all I need to know. I don't care about rumors. I don't care about what people think. I care about you." Tears pricked her eyes. I'm scared, Adrian. What if I can't be enough? What if all this, your world, it's too much for me?" Adrian cupped her face, thumb brushing over her cheek. "You are enough. You are more than enough. And if the world can't see it, that's their problem, not ours. Leila, I love you. Not your courage, not your actions, not even the fact that you saved me. I love you for you." Then the call came. Leela's phone buzzed violently. She glanced at the screen. A reporter. Adrian saw the panic in her eyes and took the phone without hesitation. "This is Adrian Blackwood," he said, voice low, commanding. "There is nothing to discuss. Leela Monroe is with me because I chose her, not because of money, publicity, or appearance. End of story." He hung up and turned to her, face softening. "See, I've got you, always." But the storm outside wasn't finished. Later that evening, Adrian's mother, Evelyn Blackwood, and his younger brother arrived unexpectedly. They had heard the rumors. Evelyn's eyes were sharp, assessing Lila. "Adrian, is this appropriate?" she asked, her voice calm but ice-cold. "You are exposing yourself and your company to unnecessary risk." Leela's hands trembled slightly. I only care about Adrian. I didn't ask for this, and I'm not here for anything else." Adrian stepped forward, protective, resolute. "Mother, this is Leila Monroe. She is courageous, honest, and brave, and I love her. Nothing else matters." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Words are easy. How do I know your heart isn't swayed by infatuation?" Lila took a deep breath. "Because I saved him that night without thinking of reward, and I love him. Not for wealth, not for status, only for who he is." Adrian's hand found hers, gripping it firmly. "She's right. Nothing else matters. And nothing will come between us." The breaking point came hours later. A news article misinterpreted a private photo of Adrian and Lila, claiming it was proof that she was manipulating him for personal gain. Leela saw it first and felt her stomach twist. I can't do this," she whispered. "Everyone thinks I'm taking advantage of you. Maybe I should leave before it ruins everything." Adrian's eyes darkened with anger and desperation. He grabbed her gently but firmly, holding her face in his hands. "Lila, no. You are not leaving. You are not going anywhere. Do you hear me?" Her lips trembled, tears streaming down her face. "But they don't understand. And who cares what they think?" Adrian's voice cracked, raw with emotion. "Do you think I don't see you for what you are? Brave, honest, kind. You are the only one I care about, Leela. Not money, not status, only you. And if you walk away now, I will never forgive the world for it." The tension broke in a tender, explosive moment. Leela's tears fell freely, but her resolve hardened. She stepped closer, pressing her forehead to his. I trust you. I choose you. I love you." Adrian's hands cradled her face. "I love you too," he whispered, voice trembling. "And I will prove it every day for the rest of my life." Then he kissed her, slow, deep, and tender. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise. A declaration that nothing in the world could break the bond they had formed. The storm outside, the judgment, the doubts, they all faded, leaving only the truth. Their love was pure, real, and unshakable. The penthouse was unusually silent. The city sprawled below them, glittering like 1,000 distant stars. But inside, tension coiled in the air like a storm. Lila sat on the couch, fingers tightly clasped around her tea mug. Every notification on her phone made her chest tighten. Headlines, messages, social media comments, they all questioned her intentions, her honesty, her heart. Billionaire dating unknown woman, P. Our stunt or true love. Leila Monroe, opportunist or genuine. Adrian Blackwood's new relationship, distraction or devotion. She had saved him in the rain purely because it was the right thing to do. And now her heart ached under the weight of the world's assumptions. Adrian entered the room silently, closing the door behind him. His suit was damp from the drizzle outside, hair slightly mussed, but his eyes were steady, piercing, and full of purpose. "They're at it again," he said quietly, approaching her. "The media, the gossip. It's relentless." Leila looked down, voice trembling. "I know, I don't know if I can. If we can survive all this." Everyone can think what they want," Adrian interrupted, kneeling in front of her. "But their opinions mean nothing. None of it matters. I care about you, only you, and I will fight for you. For us." Her heart raced. I love you, Adrian, but I'm scared. So scared. Your world, my world, it's so different. How can we survive their judgment?" Adrian cupped her face in his hands, looking deep into her eyes. "Then we survive it together. No rumor, no social pressure, no misunderstanding can break us. I love you, and I'll spend every day proving that to you." The first real test came minutes later. A knock at the door, firm and precise. Adrian's parents, his mother, Evelyn, and his father, Richard Dentard, without waiting to be invited. Leila's chest tightened. She had met none of them, but she had heard stories. Traditional, wealthy, fiercely protective. "You've brought her here," Evelyn said, her eyes scanning Leila critically. "You expect us to believe she's genuine?" "Yes, mother," Adrian said firmly, stepping protectively in front of Leila. "She is brave, honest, and real. I love her. That is all that matters." Leila swallowed hard, taking a step forward. "I didn't save Adrian to gain anything. I didn't come into his life for money or status. I love him for who he is, nothing else." Evelyn's sharp gaze softened slightly. "Words are easy, but I will admit, courage and honesty are rare. We shall see if your actions match your words." Adrian squeezed Leila's hand. "See, you've proven yourself simply by being yourself. That's more than enough." Leila's eyes filled with tears. She had feared judgment, feared being misunderstood, but Adrian's presence grounded her. She realized that love, pure love, was stronger than social expectation, gossip, or fear. The second wave of pressure came from the media. A paparazzi had captured a private moment, Adrian helping Leila cook dinner, laughing, touching her arm, and spun it into a scandal. The article implied she was manipulating him. Leila read it and felt the ground beneath her feet shake. "I can't do this," she whispered, voice breaking. "Everyone thinks I'm using you. Maybe I'm not strong enough to handle this." Adrian's expression hardened, but his touch remained gentle. He took her face in his hands. "Leila, listen to me. Do you trust me?" "Yes," she whispered, voice trembling. "Then nothing else matters," he said firmly. "Not the headlines, not the gossip, not anyone. You and I, we are real, pure, stronger than all of it. And I will fight for you, always." Tears streamed down her face as she leaned into him. "I love you," she whispered. "And I love you," Adrian replied, pressing a gentle, tender kiss to her forehead. "Nothing in this world can change that." By the end of the evening, The storm of external pressures had not disappeared, but the bond between Adrian and Lila had grown unbreakable. They held each other on the balcony, the city lights below reflecting their shared warmth. "I don't care what the world says," Lila whispered, resting her head against his chest. "All that matters is us. And it always will be," Adrian said, voice low and steady. He kissed her, slow, tender, full of unspoken promises. This was more than passion, it was trust, devotion, and the confirmation that their love was real and pure. The city was alive with lights, but Lila felt the weight of the world pressing down on her chest. Notifications, headlines, and whispers buzzed relentlessly. Social media had turned her and Adrian's private life into a spectacle. Every article painted her as an opportunist. Every rumor questioned her motives. She sank onto the couch, clutching her tea mug like an anchor. I can't handle this," she whispered to herself, voice trembling. "Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't belong in his world." Before she could spiral further, Adrian entered. His presence was commanding yet gentle. He closed the door behind him and approached her slowly, taking her hands in his. "Lila," he said softly, his deep voice cutting through the chaos. "Look at me." She raised her eyes, brimming with tears. "Nothing outside this room matters. Not the media, not gossip, not anyone's opinion." "Do you understand?" Adrian asked, holding her gaze. "Yes," she whispered, barely audible. "Good," he said, his lips curving into a soft smile. "Because this what we have is ours, pure, real, stronger than anything they throw at us. And I will fight for it. For you, always." The breaking point came moments later. A notification popped up on her phone, a viral article featuring a photo of them laughing together, spun as evidence that Lila was manipulating Adrian. Lila's hands trembled. The room seemed to shrink around her, suffocating. "I can't do this," she said, voice breaking. "Everyone thinks I'm using you. Maybe I'm not enough for you." Adrian's face darkened, a mix of anger and determination, but his hands remained gentle on her shoulders. "Lila, you are more than enough. Do you hear me?" She shook her head, tears streaming. "Listen to me," he continued, voice softer now, filled with raw emotion. "I don't care about money. I don't care about appearances. I don't care about what anyone thinks. I care about you, only you. And if you walk away now, I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it." Her breath caught. She had never felt so seen, so valued, not for wealth, beauty, or status, but for who she truly was. She felt a surge of courage, bolstered by the unwavering certainty in Adrian's eyes. "I trust you," she whispered, leaning into him. "I choose you. I love you." Adrian's lips curved into a smile, and he pulled her close, kissing her slowly, tenderly. It was a kiss that sealed their promised trust, devotion, and unshakable love. Later that night, they stood together on the balcony, the city lights below sparkling like stars. Adrian wrapped his coat around Lila's shoulders, holding her close. "Whatever comes next," he said softly, "we face it together. We are stronger than any rumor, any misunderstanding, any fear. You are mine, and I am yours." Lila rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "Forever," she whispered. "Forever," he echoed, pressing a gentle kiss to her hair. The storm outside had finally passed, but the storm they had weathered, the rumors, the judgment, the pressure, had left them stronger. closer and more in love than ever. It wasn't wealth or power that had bound them together. It was trust, courage, honesty, and a love that had grown through shared fear, vulnerability, and care. Adrian and Leila walked back inside, hand in hand, ready to face the world, not as billionaire and stranger, not as celebrity and commoner, but as two hearts beating together, and in that moment, nothing else mattered. Their love was pure, unshakable, and eternal. 5 years had passed since that rainy night when Leila had saved Adrian's life. The city had changed little, but their world had changed completely. Adrian stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of his penthouse, looking out at the skyline with a contented smile. The company he had built, Blackwood Technologies, was thriving more than ever, but it was no longer the source of his fulfillment. His heart and mind were no longer consumed solely by work, because Leila had made everything brighter. Leila entered quietly, carrying a small bouquet of wildflowers she had picked that morning. Her hair was longer now, her smile warmer, and her presence radiated a calm confidence that Adrian had fallen in love with even more deeply over the years. "Good morning," she said softly, leaning against the doorframe. "Good morning," he replied, turning to her, a genuine smile lighting his face. "Did you bring the flowers for me or the entire city?" She laughed, walking toward him. "Just for you. It's been 5 years, and I still like to remind you that you're lucky, lucky," he repeated, raising an eyebrow. "I'm the lucky one." They had built a life together that balanced love and ambition. Leila had started a small non-profit for street safety and first responders, inspired by the night she had saved Adrian. She was passionate, respected, and thriving. Adrian, meanwhile, had learned to step back from constant control, trusting Leila and his team, and prioritizing what mattered most: family, love, and moments of joy. That morning, they sat together on the balcony, coffee cups in hand, overlooking the city they had both grown to love. "Remember that night?" Leila asked, her voice soft, almost wistful. "How could I forget?" Adrian replied, taking her hand. "The night my life changed. The night I realized what truly matters." Leila smiled, squeezing his hand. "5 years, and I still get nervous around you, really," Adrian teased, leaning closer. "I thought you'd be completely immune by now." "I am. But some things never change," she whispered, her eyes sparkling. Their love had matured, but it was just as passionate and protective as ever. Later that day, Adrian surprised her with a small picnic in their apartment garden terrace. Candles, soft music, and a homemade meal, simple gestures that reminded Leila why she had loved him in the first place. "You've never changed," she said softly, watching him light the candles. "I've only learned what matters," he replied. "And that's you. Always you." As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Adrian pulled her close. Their lips met in a slow, tender kiss that spoke of 5 years of trust, laughter, shared fears, and victories. It was the kind of kiss that reminded them both that no matter the world, no matter the challenges, their love was unshakable. That evening, as they watched the city lights come alive, Adrian whispered into Leila's ear, "5 years ago, you saved me from the street. Tonight, you've saved me from a life without love, without you." "Thank you." Tears sprang to her eyes. "And you've saved me too, Adrian. From fear, from doubt, from thinking I wasn't enough. You make me feel like I belong every single day." He hugged her tightly, as if holding her could protect them from anything. We belonged to each other forever, and there, in the glow of the city, under the gentle night sky, Adrian and Leela knew, 5 years later, their love was not only surviving, was thriving deeper and stronger than ever. Untouched by time, untouched by the world,